Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with true heel heat wrestling. Holla at me.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are back once again with another preview, this time for the next big tournament from New Japan Pro Wrestling. It is one of my favorite times of the year. It is time for the best of the Super Juniors. And I am not joined by my usual suspects that join me to preview and talk some NJPW. No, I had to bring in a heavy hitter to talk about this year's Best of Super Juniors 31 tournament. You see him everywhere from Fightful to the Fight Game Media. He is the main man when it comes to Joshi Pro Wrestling and Japanese professional wrestling and all of professional wrestling overall. He is the main man, Scott E. Wrestling. Scott Edwards, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be back on the channel. You got me just in time. I'm about to go on vacation. So I'm really happy to do this. I know I think I jumped on last year's review of the Best of the Super Juniors. So full
Yes.
circle moment here. This is the one thing in New Japan that I'm like very excited for, because even when like a lineup may be down, and I think the lineup's actually been elevated the past couple weeks, unfortunately due to injury, but elevated nonetheless. You know that the Best of Super Juniors is going to deliver, right? It's the best tour of the year. Even when New Japan's at its height, often it's best tour of the year. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, and after last year, I think that expectations should be high for the Best of the Super Juniors because it was, in my opinion, the best tour last year. Like some of my favorite matches of the year last year, like top 5 favorite match was Hiromu versus Speedball from night 1, and one of the best matches of the year was the finals with Teton and Master Wato. So definitely going to have high expectations for this year's tournament and maybe another unexpected final. We shall see. But if you are joining us, we want to hear from you. Let us know what you think about this year's NJPW Best of Super Juniors 31 tournament. Let us know in the comments down below. Who do you think is going to win the tournament? Who will win the trophy this year? The tournament finals will not be a standalone show. It will take place at Dominion in June. So a little change up of the scheduling there. So Best of Super Juniors. So let us know in the comments who you think is going to win. Who do you think the 2 stars to make the finals? And if you want to have more fun, your final 4, 2 from A block, 2 from B block. Let us know in the comments down below. If you're watching the premiere, you could do that in the live chat. But your overall buzz level, Scott, heading into this year's Best of Super Juniors 31 tournament.
If I was to rate it out of 10, when the original list of competitors were announced, I was at like a 5.5. Ever since then, since the blocks have been made, since some changes have been made, again, unfortunately due to injuries, I'm up to an 8. I'm excited. I am excited for this tournament, and I think I'm going to be at a 10 by the end of this, because I feel like I'm always proven wrong by the juniors. You know, sometimes when you're watching like the G1 and they're in like this little rinky dink place that maybe not everyone's going to try, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're like, ugh. But when the juniors are there, you know they're always going to go all out. So it's like you got to pay attention to every show. And, you know, there isn't 35 people to pick from. This is the classic 10 person blocks, which is always the best. So my anticipation is high. I think they have some fun involvement from outside of New Japan as well this year, which makes it a lot of fun. So I'm feeling it. Also, Teton's back in Japan. I mean, that's a win. That's always a good time.
Always a W when Teton is here. That is one of my favorites, especially from last year's tournament. But yes, I was kind of a little bit higher than you when the first blocks came out. I was at
Yeah,
like a 6 out of 10.
sure.
But I'm actually lower than you after the changes, but I am still higher.
Oh,
I am
okay.
still higher. It's 7.5. I'm at
All
like a
right.
7.5. out of 10. But yeah, there is a lot of interesting things, a lot of interesting changes going on. Most of all, the thing that makes me like out of 7.5 out of 10 is the stories that have already kind of been sowed going into the tournament and how I think the tournament is going to play out. But you have the overall blocks here as they have it, but we will go more in depth and look at each block here. So we have the A block. A block is going to have El Desperado. You're also going to have Kevin the Jet Knight, Bushi from Los Ingonables de Japón. Speaking of LIJ, Teton from CMLL is here. You got Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors. From Ring of Honor, Blake Christian, the GCW world champion.
I don't like seeing the All Heat nickname.
You got a sentimental favorite. A lot of my people that I talk to that are New Japan fans seem to be very high on the dark horse of the of this year's Best of Super Juniors from TMDK, Kosei Fujita making his
That's
debut.
the man.
You got United Empires, TJP. You also got Kanemaru, Yoshinobu Kanemaru from House of Torture, and making his debut in the Best of the Super Juniors. You have Hayata from Pro Wrestling Noah. What do you think overall of this A block here? You got, some of the traditional people that we see in the Best of Super Juniors, like Despy, Bushi here. You got some of the newer favorites like Teton, Kevin the Jet Knight, Kosei Fujita, and then you have the newer, the outside talent like Blake Christian and Hayata here.
The A block's a mixed bag for me. It's got a lot of good, right? You got Despy, you got Teton. That's opening night one after all. That's gonna be incredible. You got Fujita, who I think is just so exciting, right? He's just done so many great things. Obviously, that trios match with Okada earlier this year is the one that really jumps out to people. He's probably the person I'm also most excited for, just to see like what he does in this tournament. But then you just got like Hayata. Hayata's not good.
He's Hayata, I feel, is the Toriyanu or Yujiro Takahashi in the G1.
Which is really sad because he's the GHC national champion, but he sure is that. He sure is that. Like I'm gonna watch probably 0 of his matches.
I'll watch night one. I always watch the full night one.
Yeah.
So I'll watch
I'm
night
happy for you. I can't do that to myself.
one.
And then
He's like, I'm not watching Bushi versus Hayata.
no. And then when I saw All Heat instead of All Heart for Blake Christian, I went, come on, man. Because like I thought he could have some like fun matches, but if he goes to the GCW thing, no.
You haven't been liking his heel work as
I don't
GCW world champion?
I don't like a gimmick where it's like I'm not gonna do the stuff that I'm good at. That's literally the entire House of Torture gimmick. Like Evil says, I'm not gonna do a never open weight style. I'm gonna just cheat, and people hate that. Why am I gonna like if Blake Christian does that? But I am excited for Kevin Knight.
He does it. I've seen a couple of his matches in GCW. He does splice in what he's good at.
He's gonna get over if he just does what he does, like in Ring of Honor, But I'm very excited for
that's him in Ring of Honor. I'm hoping because he has the Ring of Honor kind of label to him that means that we get Ring of Honor Blake Christian.
Yes, because then he could have really cool matches with Teton and Despy and Kevin Knight, for example, who I'm very excited for. Kevin Knight is a guy I love. I'm gonna probably watch all of his matches because he's made strides through the past year, whether it be in New Japan or TNA, that have really he's him and Drill Maloney are the biggest junior heavyweights I've ever seen in my life, but they're junior heavyweights nonetheless. But I'm very excited for him. I think he did such a great job last year. This feels like that year where he could break out. Like I see him versus Kosei Fujita. You give him enough time, they're gonna go out there and try to do something really cool. So overall on A block, I feel okay. It's B block where I'm most excited.
All right. So before we move on to B block, let's kind of pan out the field. So you say Hayata is the the bottom of the A block, right?
So for my viewing, yes. For like winning, I mean, he's a champion, so he might get a little love.
Yeah,
But
I think he is gonna get some love here. I think like the
yeah,
bottom, I sorry, the person who's gonna have the worst record out of this field, I feel is
Bushi.
Bushi.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're on the same page.
yeah.
It's
I
either
think TJP might be sneaky better.
Bushi or Kanemaru.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think the Jet probably isn't too high, or Blake Christian. Blake Christian's
Yeah,
representative of Ring of Honor, not AEW after all, so that might
that's
matter. Had it said AEW behind his head, he'd probably get a little bit more love.
that is very true. So, who is your picks to make it out of the A block? You get two to come out of the A block. I will tell you mine
Okay,
first and explain why.
okay.
I'm always gonna go with El Desperado. El Desperado over everything. This man, I don't care. Master Wato had a great one. Master Wato had a
Shout out
five-star
to the
matchup
master.
with Teton last year. El Desperado should have won last year's tournament. I stand on business and I stand 10 toes down that my pick last year was El Desperado over Speedball Mike Bailey in the final, and I got the exact opposite of that. I got a 5-star match still out of it, so I'm not complaining, but it should have been Despies that year. But I will take Despy to at least make it to the final four out of this field. And my second pick is TJP. TJP because he has the story. The
Mm,
story has been about United Empire ever since New Beginning when they lost the Dog Pound Steel Cage matchup against Bullet Club War Dogs. It's been about who's the leader of the United Empire, and the whole big speech that Jeff Cobb gave to TJP after they lost that 3-way IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match is like, yeah, it's great. You want to be the leader. You want to be the captain. Go win something. This feels like something for
yeah.
him to win and at least make it to the final four.
Yeah, I didn't want to have the same exact picks as you, but that is how I have been feeling going into this. I think TJP like has to at least make the semis. Um Obviously I'd love for Teton to make it again, but I just think last year was like kind of his big moment. Even though he didn't win. So I can't pick him. While I would love Kosei Fujita to make that big run and kind of just shock a lot of people, kind of like Wato did last year. He's probably gonna get a year or two in this tournament before they give him that. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Desperado, man, he got screwed out of that title, right? Like the story is natural for him to get back and try to get that title back from Show. He got counted out in one of the worst matches of the year, and that still makes me angry. It's just if it would feel wrong if he didn't make the final four, truthfully. Like I think out of everyone in this field, it would be the most wrong if he didn't make it to that point. And then TJP, like you said, like the story is naturally there for him. Um, I think like he's a guy that could be in the G1 as well this year, do the bolt because he's stepped into the open weight. But this is his chance, and I feel like if he makes the semifinals, it gives him a more natural case to do the G1 as well, right? We've seen that, of course, with like Osprey in the past of guys doing both. Um, and Phantasmo, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
So I think that is the most natural story. Like my third pick out of all of these guys would probably be Teton, just because of
Yeah.
how much they like him and how much they should like him. But I think we're on the same page here. I would be a little bit surprised actually if TJP didn't make it, which is weird. Like,
Yeah.
like it's
Great.
weird
That
to feel
that
surprised.
that honestly means that New Japan has done a good job telling this story, and I
Yeah.
think they have. I think it's been one of the best things in a run because we kind of talked about kind of our feelings on the previous show. We wanted to center this preview on the best of Super Juniors, but we've been kind of on the same page as far as the shows since New Beginning in Osaka in Japan
Mhm.
haven't hit at the same rate. But the best thing that I feel New Japan has done since Osaka
Yeah.
has been the story of United Empire.
For sure. So it it's funny because I think Akira has the most potential out of anyone in that group right now. But we'll get to B Block because B Block is filled with potential to win this thing, or at least
Let's
get to that semi.
let's get to the B block here. B block has undergone a lot of changes since
Yeah,
the original kind of formation of this year's tournament. So B block, we got former winner Kushida. He is here. I think he's
TNA's
replaced
Kushida.
TNA's. Yeah, TNA's Kushida. No, he's TNA part TNA New Japan.
I
Uh,
guess so.
he's replacing Taguchi. Or
He's replacing Yo.
Oh, he's the one replacing Yo, which I
Yes,
thought it was a good move. Then you have four-time winner of the Best of Super Juniors tournament, Hiromu Takahashi. You have representing Just Five Guys, Doki,
shout out Doki.
representing representing United Empire, Francisco Akira. You have the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Show. You have Drilla Maloney, one half of the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. You have Taiji Ishimori, the bridesmaid of the Best of Super Juniors. You have TMDK's Robbie Eagles. You have from Pro Wrestling Noah, Ninja Mac, which I'm very excited to see him. And then is he from DDT?
Dragon Gate.
Dragon Gate. We have Dragon Daya. So
Yes.
we have this B block with a lot of potential, a couple of wild card here. We have the kind of the former winners, the former champions of the tournament up top with Kushida and Hiromu Takahashi. We have the always bridesmaid who makes it to the semis or the finals in Taiji Ishimori. You have the underdogs in Akira and Doki, and somewhat Robbie Eagles, who's always kind of that consummate underdog. You got the champion show. You got the powerhouse Drilla Maloney. I really like the B block this year. What's your thoughts on it?
This block can be top of the line, fantastic, if Taiji Ishimori tries. It's a big if these days, you know? It's a big if these days. But if he tries, like, almost every match can be really, really good. I understand Show's here, so, you know, Show's going to do his thing. At least Show makes me laugh, though, so it's like, whatever.
I will give Show credit. The last 2 years, him in the Best of Super Juniors, like last year with him doing something different, stupid, and to cheat every night, it was at least fun. It became
Right.
fun to see how he would do something different because it wasn't the same thing every single. Like that's the stuff that makes me totally not want to see anyone from House of Torture. At least he switched it up every night.
And I think it's more exciting because he's the champion, so it's like he doesn't need to win this. What does he care? So, like, I think that'll be interesting. He'd be like, hey, you know, I'm good. And with him being the champion, everyone's able to be in consideration, right? Because like Hiromu is usually a champion, or Ishimori is usually a champion at this time. I think Desperado was once, but you know, Desperado never gets the belt. So what am I talking about? But I love this block, and I think Dragon Dai is going to make a lot of fans this year. He is fantastic. If you've ever seen Dragon Kid, he's pretty much the disciple of Dragon Kid from Dragon Gate. Great high flyer, moves really fast. He's in the right block to succeed. I'm looking at him versus Akira, and that one jumps out to me because they're both just absolute speedsters, which should be great. Ninja Mac's very interesting. I do look at Ninja Mac, and I, no offense to him or Hayata, one of the two, I do think that Atsuki Aoyagi was supposed to be in this from All Japan, but he's injured, so I think Noah naturally got two, which is, you know, cool for Ninja Mac because he's been their junior heavyweight champion. He's been in Japan for what, probably way over a year now, so
Yeah.
He's put in work. He's become a fan favorite. But then, you know, we talk about the main people here. Hiromu's here. The conversation starts and almost ends at that man. We know he's a semifinalist. He hasn't been champion a year. His whole story is he can't buy a win, right? He can't win anything. Yeah, something tells me he's going to be winning a lot very, 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 very soon. So that's kind of how I feel about that. But there's just a lot of potential and great matches here. And I always love when Robbie Eagles is back. Robbie Eagles is excellent. like one of the best tournament performers now, consistently. Like, he's not around New Japan a lot anymore, but when he is, he's here for this, and he's here to do what he does really well. And Kushida's really weird to me because it's like he's still very good. He just wasn't in the tournament before, so it's
He
like
wasn't in the tournament. He has not been pushed the way I thought he was gonna be
right.
when he returned to New Japan. What now? 2 years ago?
Mhm.
It seems crazy that it's been 2 years and they really have not even scratched the surface. Like when he returned, I thought they were setting up him and Hiromu at a big Wrestle Kingdom, and
Right.
they've never even sniffed that or teased that. They've positioned him as a junior heavyweight tag team wrestler.
Yeah, which I mean has been good, but like he is someone that has so much value, right? When he
Yeah,
came back, everyone was so excited, and it doesn't make sense. But I know he's doing America like half the time, but so is like everyone that you've crowned as champion the past year. So it's like
yeah.
that shouldn't be a problem. But I'm happy he's in it, truthfully. Like, obviously it sucks for Yo because Yo is starting to put in some really good work character wise and everything. But we look at the bright side here.
So looking at this B block, who are your two semifinalists?
Well, I kind of gave it away early, but obviously I'm going with Hiromu. And I look at that final night. It's Hiromu versus Taiji Shimori, Korok and all
Oh my god!
to
Like what? They
to des-
always do this.
yep, to decide who's going to that semifinal. So that's kind of how I feel about that. Then you look at the other matchups. Because this one for me is very matchup based. I feel like the number 2 is very wide open, right? Kushida wasn't supposed to be in this, so it's like I'm not gonna pick him. Ishimori's going against Hiromu, so that to me tells me we're only getting one. So that brings me to Francesco Akira. He's fighting Sho on the final night. And what's better than a moment where the babyface underdog overcomes someone from House of Torture, especially to get into that semifinal? And then that way you can mathematically set up so TJP faces Hiromu and Despy faces Akira. And then you could just tease. You could tease that potential catch 2-2 final. And I think one of them ultimately fail, and it's probably whoever faces Hiromu, because that's the way it is. Like I have a really tough time going away from anyone not named Hiromu because he's been out of the spotlight for 5 months, and that's we're in a world with New Japan now where I think they should have all their top stars on top, whether that be Desperado or Hiromu. So I'm kind of feeling that. Also, can we just get a Hiromu Despy final? That's great. Like, is that too much to ask? I kind of hate that it's on Dominion, but I liked when they got their own night.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel
But
you on that.
I just try to go based off that final night, and if those are the two matches that stand out to me, especially because Kushida and Dyer are facing on the final night. Neither of them are supposed to even be here, so it's like
Perfect final night matchup. I really wanted to pick someone different from you on this one.
ah.
But I love Hiromu Takahashi, and I already talked about the story with our United Empire and Catch 2-2. So yes, I have Francisco Akira in that 2 spot in the B block, but yeah, I gotta have Hiromu Takahashi. I would love to pick Taiji Ishimori to beat Hiromu and get someone up, but nah, you're absolutely right. Hiromu's been out the spotlight too long. I can't see him not making the semifinals
At
this year. He
least.
didn't. He just came up short last year against
Yeah.
Teton to making the semifinals. I
Mhm.
can't see it back-to-back years. But let's get to the final 4. So we got the same
Mhm.
final 4: A block, Despy and TJP; B block, Hiromu and Akira. By how they did it last year, they did A versus B in the semifinals. So that would mean possibly a TJP versus Hiromu and Despy versus Akira rematch of one of the best matches of last year's tournament. Who do you got in those two matches?
See, that just excites me saying it, like that is two very exciting matchups. And I think you'd at least get one United Empire guy in there, right? You wouldn't have them both go and them both fail. But the difficult part for me is if they do TJP versus Hiromu, right? In the semifinal. Hiromu's not missing the final again, right? It's been one full year of him not being there. They're having a problem with him not being in there. This is a big problem for them. So like I think there's an interesting story to continue telling through the United Empire if it was Akira and not TJP to make the finals. So it feels almost perfect, right? To have the young guy, Akira, get into the final and lose to Hiromu Takahashi. It's just on brand with New Japan Pro Wrestling.
It feels like so New Japan.
It feels on brand, so that's what I'm going with. I would love Despy to win too, obviously. That would be my heart pick, but I'm sure they're not going to run Hiromu and Despy. I feel like if you get two United Empire guys in there, one of them probably should make the final, just to continue that story, especially.
I mean, going with Hiromu or Despy, I wouldn't blame anyone. They've been the mainstays of the junior heavyweight division. That is why I am going with the United Empire. All final. TJB beats Hiromu and Akira beats Despy.
That would be exciting.
Final. Yes, that is how you make both guys, because it does not matter really who wins that one. It could be either or. You could toss it up, do a coin flip backstage right before the matchup, because both guys are made by making the finals because they beat the mainstays of the junior heavyweight division to do it. So I'm going with an all catch 2-2 final. You going with Hiromu versus Akira. So you're saying Hiromu gets his fifth?
Yeah. I just the losing thing threw me off. I was like, this means he's winning again. I was like, like that's just how they do this. They love Hiromu. I don't blame them. Now he's probably the second most popular wrestler in that company. So it's like I can't blame them if they want to go back to a reliable. And for him to overcome Show and House of Torture to take that belt back, it's a story they would love to tell. I like yours a lot though, because one, it's different. Two, it may be too different for Gato to ever consider it. But I love it.
He just did an unexpected, unpredictable final last year. But I'm saying, dog, this is the time to do it again. Do it back-to-back years. Make some new people in that junior heavyweight division. But, like I said, both guys are made by making the finals. In my prediction here, TJP needs to win more. TJP needs to win this one. It needs to be TJP that wins the cup, then wins the junior heavyweight.
The ass wing?
Huh? Aswang. No, he's going to be Aswang to beat House of Torture. He's got to be Aswang
that makes sense.
To beat House of Torture.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. So listen to what we're saying.
Exactly. Nothing makes sense with the House of Torture, but it would make sense for him to be Aswang against Show more than against Akira. I think he does it straight up with Akira. He beats Akira in the finals. Akira is made by just making it to the finals and getting a win over Despy, getting his revenge from last year. And I think it's gonna be one hell of a match. It's gonna be a match of the year candidate for New Japan. TJP gets the win and goes on to beat Show for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, and he gets to be the leader of United Empire.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see it potentially happening. I think those four are probably the best bets in terms of like potential winners, truthfully, because I could see Akira win too, just if they want to establish a new top foreign junior who's always there, obviously excellent, had that great story going into that cage match. So yeah, I'm not upset with any pick out of those four, which is exciting, which is why Hiromu was like whatever, it's like I'm used to it, but it would still be fine with me because I don't hate Hiromu. I'll always enjoy Hiromu as a wrestler. But the matches like throughout this tournament that I'm most excited for, I think they're in a lot of them.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you that because we've already kind of gave our predictions for the overall tournament. So kind of give some more like tidbits here for the A block. Give us what your top 2 matches you're looking forward to the most.
Night 1, Desperado and Teton. That is just, it's everything, man. Like that, and it's in Cork and Hall, I believe.
Yeah.
So like that's just 10 times better. It's main eventing. That's really why, that's why we watch for those big time main events. And then my other A block match that I'm really looking forward to, by the way, notably Teton versus TJP on the final night of A block action.
Oh,
So
that's a good one. Yeah.
sounds like that could make a lot of sense. My other choice, I look towards Kosei Fujita, and I think to myself, what matchup maybe fits him the most? And I think I'm going with Teton and Fujita. I think that could be very exciting in terms of the high flying, the strikes, just kind of like one of those matches that almost surprise you a little bit, right? It's 2 newer guys in the tournament. Teton's been in it for a few years, but I think people really take notice of him now. And in that match, like, it's not going to reach the levels of this match, but I feel like that could be the mid-tournament Leo Rush versus Speedball. Like that match that just is like, oh my God, everyone needs to go watch this. I think that has that potential. I have no idea what venue it's in. I have no idea what day it's on, but I'm very excited for it nonetheless.
I am going to go with follow up you with my 2 in the A block. Kosei Fujita, yeah, I think he's someone to look out for a lot of the best matches from the A block. And him and Despy, I think, are just gonna beat the shit out of each other. Like, I think that's gonna be like hard chops, hard hitting. I'm really looking forward to that one. And I will probably say Blake Christian versus Teton. I feel like those two. Those two. If we get the Blake Christian that we're talking about, all heart ROH Blake Christian, and they get like 10, 12 minutes, they can really turn it up. So that would be the other one there. And an honorable mention to Kevin the Jet Knight versus Kosei Fujita. You mentioned that one earlier, but yeah, that's one I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that's a good one.
B block. What's your top 2 matches you're looking forward to?
The first match of the tournament will be Francesco Akira versus Dragon Dia. They've never wrestled before. I have no idea if they have chemistry, but being the first match of the entire tournament in Cork and Hall, I just feel like they'll both be out there to prove something, right? Dia will want to show everyone what he's all about. And Akira, I feel like, is going to start off a strong tournament. So that's one that I'm really looking forward to. And then the other one, I have to look to Hiromu here. And then you get picky. Like, what match interests me the most? I'm always a sucker for him and Kushida. It's just, even though they had that crazy match last year, like when they went outside and stuff, that was
fun.
Wild.
That was a memorable one from the tournament.
Yeah. That one was crazy. But I try to I want to look and see like where's Hiromu main eventing? What show is Hiromu main eventing? In night 2, it's him and Doki. And I don't know why, but there's something about Doki in a main event that just excites me, especially against Hiromu. That feels like that potential big time upset that the crowds just lose it for. I love Doki. I think he's been like one of the underrated guys for a couple of years now. So I'm gonna go with that one because I could pick like Hiromu and Ishimori or something, but
Yeah,
let's go crazy.
you can go any of them in the B block. I'm gonna start off B block. Yeah, night one. I'm gonna call for it. Yeah, Kasida and Hiromu. I enjoyed that one going outside and ending in a count out last year. I enjoyed their series during Kishida's first run with New Japan, and I think semi main event. They're going to be trying to outdo what the main event is going to do in Kurgan Hall. I think they can deliver something really great together. And the next one is one I would call a hidden gem from last year's tournament. So I'm really looking forward to the rematch. Francisco Akira versus Robbie Eagles. Those
Mm,
two tore it up in Kurgan Hall last year. And I think that it was on the same show as Speedball and Hiromu. So no one
mm,
remembers that.
yeah.
No one remembers that. Everybody remembers Speedball and Hiromu fighting all over Kurgan Hall. But I think that they can have a really great matchup as well. And I think that Akira is going to tear it up this tournament.
I can be a venue snob and I look just for Korakuen matches.
Yes, this is true.
I do that, so like I apologize, but it's like I know those matches are gonna be top notch, and I think
I
that
like off the
is a
top of
big
my
reason.
head, you say Kurgan Hall, and I think last year's tournament, I think Speedball Hiromu. I think Hiromu versus Leo Rush. Yeah, I
Mhm.
remember those Kurgan Hall shows a lot more than I remember any other shows.
Yeah, it's just they're the best venue for this, and I think like Teton versus TJP on that final night for A Block could be like one of those that just steal the show. It's like back against the wall, both of them. Winner advances, I would think at that point. So yeah, it's gonna, and again, the final 4 nights are in Cork. That's beautiful. Like
That's as good as it gets.
that's why we're here. That's why we watch. So I'm very excited for this tournament though.
So talking about that first night, since we both picked matches from that first night, final predictions for the first night on the tournament. That's Saturday, May 11th, Kurgan Hall, the semifinal. It's going to be Kushida one-on-one with Hiromu Takahashi. Who do you think wins night one?
Um, with the I can't buy a win story, it feels like it would be right to start Hiromu in the hole, kinda. The classic, oh no, he's out of it, and then he went, he goes on a run to close it out. I think Kushida's a perfect person to upset him. Or is it really an upset between those two?
It would be because Kushida's 1-4 all
That's
time
true.
against Hiromu.
So I think Kushida winning there would be great. And I would love a flashback Kushida performance as well. Just to like put Hiromu on the back burner for at least one more match, and then he can win out as far as I'm concerned. Like, that's what he does. So I I think that makes sense for his story as well.
I agree with you there, 100%. I think that Kushida gets the night one upset. He gets the win over Hiromu Takahashi, and then in the main event, we got from the from A block, El Desperado versus Teton, a rematch from last year's semifinals. I am going with the reverse of what happened in last year's semifinals. I am going with El Desperado to beat Teton because he should have beat him
Mm.
last year.
I wish that was the final last year. Um, I think Desperado wins as well. I think you want to finish the night one strong. Great back and forth match. Is he gonna? Did he tapped out last year? Didn't he?
Yeah,
You want to tease that again? You want to tease? Is
yeah.
he gonna tap out again? He survives, gets the win. It's perfect. Also, I just want to say this: Desperado's hair is so long now. It's like kind of terrifying. I got so used to him having no hair out of his mask, and now he's just got this like luscious. He took Yu Uemora's hair and just added it on to what he already had, and it's like, man, this seems unfair.
He's got beautiful, beautiful locks. You remember when he had the short hair just 4 years ago? 4 years ago
Yeah,
when they took off his mask. Like
I know. Look at him now.
here,
I
here we
remember
are
that
now.
the Jun Kasai match where he was just a bloody mess with the mask ripped off. And
Yes.
now imagine that his hair was getting nasty.
Get that Ric Flair tint with the blood in his
Well,
hair.
he'd have to, that's for the art. that's for the art. So yeah.
But yes, that is our NJPW Best of Super Juniors 31 preview. I want to thank Scott for joining me to break down the tournament, tell us about the matches he's looking forward to, and give us his predictions for the Best of Super Juniors. Like we said before, he is going with Hiromu versus Akira in the finals, with Hiromu winning his 5th tournament. I am going with the all catch 2-2 final with Francisco Akira versus TJP, with TJP winning the tournament. Scott, let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and see all your great content and your written work. The floor is yours.
Yeah, you can follow me at Scott E Wrestling on Twitter. Best place to follow me, best place to find my content. If you're interested in the world of Joshi, check out the 5-Star Joshi Show wherever you get your podcasts. That's each and every week. Since I'm going on vacation, this week's episode was big time. I ended up talking about the upcoming Marigold show that is on the 20th. Everything that's happening in Stardom, including one of the best tag team matches of the year between Crazy Star and FWC, and so much more. You can also check out on Fightful. I have interviews up currently with Utami Hayashishita, Sayori Ano, and hopefully many others very, very soon. So that's the best place to find what I'm doing right now. SP3, thank you so much for having me on here. I know I know the past few times we've tried to make something happen, I've made it impossible. So I'm happy I was able to do one of these, because I always like the special episodes. Those are fun for me, I like the long ones too, where we talk a little bit about everything, but this was perfect. Thank you.
Get to focus in, see a lot more of your knowledge on NJPW and the Best of Super Junior. So thank you, sir. I appreciate you joining us. But you can follow me on the Twitter machine at True Hill SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat. And check out all the great content we got on the channel right now. If you like NJPW, check out our Wrestling Duntaku 2024 review from earlier this week. We also have our NJPW Resurgence preview that was up earlier today with myself, Sanal, and Jay News, breaking down the huge show on Saturday in Ontario, California. And if you like something different that we got on the channel, check out our Kendrick Lamar versus Drake star ratings. I gave star ratings for every diss track of the beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, because I'm better than Dave Meltzer.
If Dave Meltzer started giving out star ratings for that, then I would have been a little bit nervous.
I mean, this guy didn't even know Bad Bunny was famous. You can't depend on him for star ratings on music.
The first time Bad Bunny ever showed up in WWE, I didn't know who he was, but ever since then, I do.
but maybe you said, "Oh, I don't know who he is." You didn't go on air and say, "Oh, this guy's not famous." Historically,
that's true.
I will never respect Dave Meltzer's opinion on music. I'm sorry, Dave. I respect your opinion on wrestling, but not music.
Music's no. Well, to be fair, he'd probably agree. I'm sure he would. Isn't like, that's my expertise, but
he's like, you're insulting my go-to. But yes, for Scott, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our NJPW Best of Super Juniors 31 preview. We are signing